Steele has escaped from prison 3 times, on one occasion supergluing himself to the gates of Buckingham Palace. His stunt's designed to focus public attention on his protestations of innocence.
Jurors are being asked to decide on the guilt or innocence of Thomas Campbell, aged 31, and Joseph Steele, aged 22, who are accused of murdering 6 members of the Doyle family by setting fire to their home at Bankend Street in Rochesy last April.
The 2 men deny any involvement in the blaze, which was the climax to a violent struggle between rival factions
in a turf war said to be connected with the selling of drugs on ice cream routes around Glasgow.
In 1984, the Doyle family were murdered, 6 members of their family, in the East End of Glasgow. The scenes, when you look back, are horrific. The terror that our family must have felt. And of course, there was a real drive for justice.
We don't know what the actual cause of this grudge or this fire is.
Police carried out an investigation and they were like, oh, we've got 2 men, Joseph Steele and Tommy Campbell, and they extracted confessions from them and they were sent to prison for life.
Thomas Campbell, or TC as he was known, winced as the jury foreman announced the unanimous verdict, guilty of murder.
When I was studying law, it became notorious. Tommy would be, speaking from Barlini.
Scottish Reporters has obtained a videotape on which, for the first time on television, Campbell speaks openly about his conviction.
Myself and Joseph Steele were wrongfully convicted for murder. We are innocent.
Tommy, he was a petty criminal, but he didn't kill 6 members of the Doyle family.
Tommy and Joseph began a 20-year fight protesting against their conviction.
Since beginning his life sentence, Steele has escaped from prison 3 times, on one occasion supergluing himself to the gates of Buckingham Palace. His stunt's designed to focus public attention on his protestations of innocence.
In the years that followed, Tommy and Joseph had 2 appeals rejected.
Released for an appeal?
Refused.
Convicted killers have plea for new evidence to be heard rejected.
Released for an appeal?
Refused.
And then put back in again.
It was after their second appeal rejection in 2001 that Amber became involved in the case.
I think I was just finishing off my traineeship. I went into my boss's room. Tommy wants you. Why me? He says he wants somebody that isn't scared, that will stand up and fight back. We started building the team, and again, people thought, oh, you'll never win it. There was 3 main pieces of evidence that showed that they were framed. A map where it was circled the Doyle family home.
There never was a map found in my briefcase, but there was a map produced in court.
And Tommy, of course, knew that area like the back of his hand.
I don't need a map to get me around the corner.
The police go along and, oh, look, there it is. We've got a map and it's circled. There was a witness who falsely claimed he'd heard Campbell and Steele discussing in a pub and what they were going to do.
William Love says now that everything he told the police was a complete lie.
The police told me what to say, and now I just want to tell the truth.
So he said he'd committed perjury and that he'd lied, that he was threatened by the police. But the appeal court said that doesn't matter, we've got enough evidence because we've got the confessions. So of course we went after the confession evidence. Tommy supposedly having said 24 words.
I only wanted the Van Windays shot up. The fire at Fat Boys was only meant to be a frightener, which went too far.
The police verbal evidence that I'm alleged to have the fire at Fat Boys was only meant to be a frightener, which went too far. I never said that. I just never said it. It's as simple as that.
These 4 or 5 police officers came in and it was like, oh, this was written after the event. They remembered it.
Their recollection of his words matched exactly, but they denied comparing notes before writing them down. Today, the appeal court heard from an expert on memory. Professor Brian Clifford thought the chances of the officers remembering exactly the same words without comparing notes was very low.
The idea that 4 police officers could later on write the same statement where those 24 words was identical was simply wrong. The appeal was won, it was successful.
Today, Joseph Steele and TC Campbell finally cleared their names and won their freedom.
And I remember a huge cheer went up and I walked out. I was still a young lawyer.
The term to use to describe this case will be a miscarriage of justice, but it was more than that. At the heart of this case was allegations of police corruption.
And I called at that time for a public inquiry.
We demand a full independent inquiry into Strathclyde Police, into the allegations of corruption.
That demand for a public inquiry was never granted.
The Ice Cream Wars case drove home once again about the lack of justice, a lack of accountability, and showed me once again how it is a David and Goliath.
The Chief Constable should reopen the murder investigation and find the killers of the Doyle family and bring them to justice. That is the very least that can be expected.
Strathclyde Police refused to do anything about it. As far as they're concerned, the case was closed. 6 people died and that family still has never got justice. It's about bringing about change. People say, so long ago, what's the point? This is about going into the heart of policing and the justice system in this country and what they do.